When your swag is off, you instantly know it.
It's Wednesday, and the window is open. In this extended conversation, Morice, Mabry, and Dr. Karla discuss reclaiming your energy and swag. Let's listen in.
I want to talk a little bit about swag because you introduced me to this concept of your swag, and I would love to hear a little bit more about it.
I love swag. And most people think swag is, popping your collar, swagger, or swag product items, right? I don't define swag in that way. I defined it as self-awareness, why power, aligned action, and grit. And it's funny because I went through like my navigation of leadership, and particularly I'll talk about the situation where I developed my coaching unit, right? I had swag when I went through that process. And I want to break that down for you in real time from storytelling, which makes it simple to understand, right?
Okay.
So um, I went through this coaching program and I was really excited learning all of these different concepts and stuff like that. And a lot of my peers that was going through it, they were approaching their coaching from a standpoint of starting their business. But my approach was, you know, the employees can be my clients at the Department of Justice of where I work. And so that was my mindset and how I approached coaching, right? So here's how the swag worked, okay?
Okay.
The self awareness. I knew in my spirit that this was the best thing to do for me in this situation. But what also was occurring is that inner critic that was trying to seep in and make me think, well, nobody has ever done this before. Mo, what makes you think that you can do this? And how do you know you're going to be successful? I mean, this whole coaching thing is new. You're in a cohort program. What makes you think that you can create something in this department with over 5,600 employees? See, that's the self awareness piece, right?
Okay.
And it was trying to talk, the inner critic was trying to talk me out of it. At the time, I didn't know this. I'm just being Mo, going through my process. And I just remember having this passion and belief in self that this is going to work. It has to work. The leaders need this, right? And so that drives me to the why power. I was so passionate about this that that was my purpose to fulfill this mission and providing leaders in the Department of Justice the opportunity to self develop and discover how coaching can really help uplift their leadership. Right. And so I carried this energy, this passion that aligned me with certain actions that I needed to take in order to see this through. And that's where the aligned actions piece comes in. So, what were those actions that I needed to take? Well, opposed to trying to tell everybody about coaching, I had to help key stakeholders experience what coaching was and what it was like, right? So, that was the aligned action piece. And then the grit was having the emotional stamina to see it through whenever I ran into a hurdle or a barrier. See, that's swag. That's swag in action. And at the time, Karla, I didn't realize I had swag the way I did. But as you evolve in this coaching space as we do, you
Mhm.
start kind of putting your own puzzles together and creating your own framework. And I believe framework starts within self first and how you model your own framework. And so that's how swag really came to be for me. And that's what I model. And on the flip side of it, when your swag is off, you instantly know it. You know why? Because you feel this overwhelming, doubtful, imposter syndrome, frustrating, discouragement type feelings. And it happens in real time. And sometimes it lasts for 5 minutes. Maybe it's a day. Maybe it's 2 weeks, whatever. But that's the signal, Karla. That's the signal that your swag is off in real time. And so, okay, Mo, when your swag is off in real time, how do you get your swag back? You lean in one of the four areas. You lean in with self awareness. Maybe you lean in remembering what action do I need to take right now in this moment? And lean in with that. Or lean in with remembering in the action, well, not action, but in that moment, what your purpose is, right? Or lean in feeling like I have to have the emotional stamina to not give up on myself in this moment. And that's grit. Either way, you can enter. And when you enter, it interconnects with the other.
Yeah.
And that's swag.
So with the swag, just the S.W.A.G is self-awareness, the Y, right? And
Why
the,
power,
okay, Y power. And the A is for,
aligned action
okay, and then G is grit.
is grit. That's
Right.
it.
So if you pull those together and look at it from a leadership perspective, would it be the same for leaders as it is for coaches? Like in your opinion?
Absolutely. That's the intent really is for leaders because in this environment, leaders are feeling the decision fatigue. They feel the over functioning, the overthinking, just doubtful, right? And that's the signal when you, so it goes back to what I was saying. Let's just say decision fatigue. Man, I'm just tired. I don't know. I don't know. I got so many different priorities coming at me.
And that is so
I don't,
real right now.
you know what I mean?
It
Right?
is so real. Yeah.
And that's the moment of hesitation. That hesitation right there in that thought, your swag is off. That's the signal. That's the signal. That's the reminder. Man, that's what Mo was talking about. Oh my goodness. Okay, my swag is off. The pause. And we talk a lot about that as coaches.
Yeah.
Pause. What's important right now, right? So
Mhm.
the pause is the reminder of how to get your swag back. And the swag is the leadership operating system, right? We all have operating systems that we operate from. And a lot of times I believe it's just naturally embodied through patterns of our up and come up, right? And as you're coming up through leadership, the leadership ranks, it's not necessarily discussed what your operating system consists of and what that looks like. You just naturally adopt different leadership styles from the people that you follow, and it becomes naturally a part of you, and you promote, and it's just who you are. It's just not discussed, and you just kind of roll with it. But then when decision fatigue shows up, your operating system might be triggered to worry. It might be triggered to um, go into isolation, distance yourself from people. And that's just how you deal with decision fatigue until it dissipates and go away, and then you come back. Well, my role is to put that on awareness that that feeling of decision fatigue that you're experiencing, swag is off. And everybody remembers swag because they think of popping your collar or swagger.
Or going to an
They
event and picking up
that's
your swag, right? You get
yeah,
little gifts and such, and people call those swag. Yeah, it's very memorable.
right, right. And I got to get my swag back. I got to get my swagger back.
Hmm.
That's so easy. It resonates with so many people
Yeah.
across all nationalities, regions, anywhere. Swagger. But let's let's approach it from a self-awareness, why power, aligned action, and grit perspective, though. And knowing that you're experiencing these draining feelings, because that's what it is. When these type emotions show up in our consciousness, it drains us. It really does.
Yeah.
When you're worried, it's draining. When you feel that you need to overfunction, meaning you got to constantly prove yourself to make sure that someone thinks you're the way that you need to be perceived in front of them. So you're going to try harder, 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 harder because your consciousness and that ego inner critic is telling you, oh, you got to prove yourself. You got to work harder. You got to, if you don't do this, they're going to think that. So you got to work harder, work harder, work harder. And that becomes a drain.
Yeah.
And with the drain, swag off.
Yeah. I can
Swag
see how
is
that
off.
imposter syndrome would really fall into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.